Hi, everyone. I'm Jack Johnson,
I'm Jill Johnson.
and we're here on the We Bought a Franchise podcast. And have we got a terrific guest for you today? Folks, this is someone who's probably forgotten more about franchising than most of us could ever hope to know. Charles Bonfiglio, the founder and CEO of Tint World. Charles, welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here, neighbors.
Yeah.
That's right.
We're neighbors as well as we work together, whole package.
Yeah, we live in the same neighborhood and we see each other on dog walks, and we're able to catch up on franchising. It's really cool.
Yep.
So Charles, where to begin? There's so much I want to ask you. There's so many things we can cover, and I know we don't have all the time in the world, but maybe let's just start with you and what got you into franchising and being an entrepreneur, and then let's take it from there.
Well, that's a loaded question. I'll start with the entrepreneur first. My dad had a clothing factory in Brooklyn, and as a teenager, I just was intrigued with the way he ran his business, like a family business with all, women on sewing machines. And we did, Calvin Klein, Norma Kamali, all the high-end brands. We did it. So I learned every bit of his business as a teenager. And then, afterwards, when I got out of high school, I just opened up one myself. And I ran it for a couple of years. I ran a pizzeria restaurant in New York City that I purchased right around the corner from the Empire State Building. I felt like by the time I got to 21, I felt like I fell into those things. It wasn't like I planned it. I just was, okay, this is really good. I'm going to do this. And I was successful at it, but not wildly successful because it wasn't what I loved. But when I was a teenager, I loved cars and I loved to work on them. And I really was good at putting car stereos in. Got popular for that. And then I decided, I said, Dad, I'm going to go down to Florida. I want to drive in convertibles. I want to have a car stereo shop. I want to do something that I love. And that's how it started.
I love it. Yeah, I love it. And I get it. Charles, I love cars too. Jill always makes fun of me because I'm constantly looking at cars for sale, right? There's always, all of us have that one car we're always kind of keeping an eye on, right? And I'll tell you something, Charles, with Tint World, which is the franchise, of course, that Charles is the founder and CEO of. I'll never forget this. Jill and I were searching. This was back in sort of the end of the pandemic times, maybe 2021, 22.
Yeah.
Jill and I were looking for an SUV, a Porsche Cayenne, and they were gone, right? Charles, you remember, like certain cars you could not get at that time.
Yeah.
And we wanted a black one. And we wanted certain accessories, and all we could find was a white one. And I remember Charles saying to me, if you get the white one, you can bring it to Tint World and we'll make it any color you freaking want. And it'll be so much better than the paint.
Yeah. We do color changes. And you know what? Years ago, color change was big. What's big today is they have paint protection film. Right? It used like it's clear thick film that protects the car, but they actually make it in colors now. So not just a wrap where it looks good, but it's actually paint protection film in the color that you want. And in the future, in the years coming, which is starting to happen, you'll be able to order your car and then you can order it in paint protection color that you want. That's what they do with the Cybertrucks now.
I love that.
That's cool.
Yeah, and if it helps with like the scratches and stuff that, sometimes happen on the car, I don't know how.
Yeah, how does that happen?
No idea. I would love that.
But it's like, I have to admit, as a franchise broker and someone who's been in franchising a long time, when we first started working with you guys, Charles, I don't, and I had done my homework, but I don't think I fully understood everything Tint World could do. But the point of it is that you guys can do so many different types of projects. It's not just like the windows. You can, like you said, wrap the car. You guys can take, how much of the business on a given franchisee, how much can someone do? Is there a breakdown of business to business, business to consumer? Does it vary by location? What does that look like?
Well, in franchising, and especially in the automotive aftermarket, when you have 50 or 100 locations, and really not that attractive yet to, fleet accounts and trade accounts and, a little bit like mom and pop. But then what happens once you get to 150 and start scaling and you're all over in many states like we are now, we're getting Amazon fleet trucks that are coming through. As a matter of fact, we got a big deal coming with them right now that could be like $50 million a year in Amazon and UPS trucks that are going to be actually getting windshield skins on the front, because the windshields today on these new trucks have all digital in them and they're very expensive to replace. So we have external protective films that go on them to help them not crack. So, and they're only temporary. They're good for like 18 months. So this might be a repetitive thing. They come every year. We rip them off. We put the new ones on to protect them. It's a great business. So we're working a deal right now that can be very big for that.
Wow. And that would be something that could roll out across all franchise locations?
Yes, yes. We just had had the manufacturer come down. We made a video on one of our stores, and we just pushed it out to our franchisees. And right now, it's really funny because all the fleet companies are now because they have a product. They don't have anybody that can really install it nationwide.
Sure.
So they says, well, go check out Tint World. So I have like the people in Amazon and UPS checking us out in the background and saying, hey, these guys are pretty big. Yeah, they're good. We've got the locations. Let's sign up. So we're very close to launching that new fleet program.
So, Charles, what's interesting is, and I think this is something a lot of people, maybe they know about franchises, maybe they don't, but like you're saying, I mean, here's like Amazon. How many of those trucks do we see coming through our neighborhood on a daily basis? I mean,
no comment.
I mean, yeah, they're all coming to our house.
No, they're here. I mean, multiple times a day. But yeah, in the neighborhood, just seeing them on the road too. That they're everywhere.
They're everywhere.
That's like the best business you could get right now.
Yeah. I mean, what an incredible account. I mean, we just, on the Pink side of things, which is the franchise that we own, we just landed a national deal with, well, I guess I probably can't say it because they just, but it's something that rolls out, accounts to everyone. And I was thinking about it for like newer franchisees that are just launching these types of programs, the programs like what you're talking about. I mean, what a great thing to roll into established relationships like that.
Yeah.
And this stuff that I did is because, prior to, Tint World, I was a franchisee myself. I found franchising when I came down to Florida, and I was in aftermarket automotive repair maintenance shop. And so when it was busy with the marketing they had, but when it came into the 90s and things started slowing down in the period, that's when I found fleet work. I'm like, oh, wait, you could actually set up an account and they just bring you work and you don't have to even sell it. It's just, hey, do it. So that's when I found it. So I was waiting for the point when I can get Tint World to that realm where we can actually get fleet accounts coming in, because there's nothing like having relationship business that just keeps coming in. And it's an anticipated sale. You're going to do them. You got a fixed amount that's coming in, and it adds to your retail business as well as our residential commercial home services.
What's interesting, Charles, is that when people think about automotive franchising, when I look at how Tint World has grown over the years, and I look at how the market moves, and anyone that follows us, we provide sort of a market watch on which franchises people are buying on our Inside Scoop podcast. Charles, Tint World, from my vantage point, I don't know about but from my vantage point, is outselling all the other automotive franchises. I don't know that people, if everyone listening to our podcast knows that. Charles, why are so many people so bullish on Tint World? What is it that makes you guys such an attractive franchise opportunity?
Well, it is a sexy business. Let's face it. I mean, doing nice things with cars, like you said, you like them, I like them. A lot of people like them. It's almost like a work of art that you can drive. It's mechanical. Yeah. People just love them. So when you could do things like window tinting, paint protection, even we do ceramic coating on them. You don't have to wax your car anymore. There's accessories you can put on cars and trucks. Those things are really fun. And it's niche. Like there's not other big players out there. Right. I saw this opening and I felt this is the way I want to grow. I don't want to just do repair work and dirty oil change and stuff. That's good. It needs to be done. I did it for years. I built 10 Meineke centers at the point. But when I got to build the brand that I always dreamed of, is aftermarket accessories, car audio, electronics, remote starts, that's what really excites me, and it excites customers. When they used to come into my my auto shop, I came in for an oil change, and then they got me for $900 in brakes. When they come into Tint World, I went in for a tint job for a few $100s, and I left spending $5,000. I got this, and it's exciting. It propels a positive experience, so people love it, and it's very niche. But now it's not getting so niche. I mean, it's actually opening up. It's a big industry with a lot of categories of services, and so they're doing really well. And it's a very high profit business, meaning that the services that you're selling are very high gross profit margin. So once you get over your break even, like 70%, 80% of your business is profit of those sales. So it gets really well.
I was about to say, I bet the margin on your jobs is very, very good. In terms of your item 19, I don't think I've seen your newest one. Are you open to sharing what you guys disclosed in the item 19?
Yeah, generally in the last 2 years, last few years, we've been disclosing, net EBITDA of average stores and the EBITDA of the top 50% of our stores. And the top 50 are ranging between $380,000 to $400,000 on an average of the top 50 of about $1.2 million. And then on the stores that are averaging, and the average of all stores is just under $900,000, and those stores are net EBITDA about $250,000. So they're really good, and we usually get there between 2 to 3 years, depending on where, what, and how they operate. So that's really good returns. Now that doesn't include the owner salary and or any loans that they have. That's just a base four-wall EBITDA, but that's really good because now we got investors that come in. Hey, we can actually invest into this franchise, spend $300,000 to $400,000 to open it up, and actually make that much money back in 2 years, maybe 3. So they're buying a lot of them because it's just where do you put your money and get that much back every time?
Yeah.
I mean, compared to some other retail franchises that are out there, Charles, that really struggle to hit a strong EBITDA number. I mean, can you imagine? So we invest in an average Tint World. What do you think? After I pay my franchise fee, having maybe 300 to 500K working capital, does that sound about fair?
That would be fair, yes.
Okay. So now I build up my Tint World, and I know during the first couple of years I'm building the business, but once I get, and again, I'm not asking for predictions or anything like that, but with that kind of EBITDA, if I am at by year 5 on a single unit, if I have an EBITDA of 350,000, I mean, Charles, would it be if I decided, hey, you know what, this business 3 times that, I mean, I'm over $1 million on my valuation on a business that I invested $500,000. I mean, that's really attractive.
Yeah, we've been doing for the first 10 years, like nobody wanted to sell, nobody did sell.
Right.
But now that it's opened up and it's after COVID and all that stuff, some of these people, they're cashing out. I had one person cash out for 1.35 million. Another one cashed out just yesterday. I had somebody cash out for nearly 800,000. And it was 4 years. He opened up 4 years later. He sold it for nearly 800,000.
Wow.
Like in 4 years, just in Boca right here, by the way. I did a little video I just posted on LinkedIn. So it's fun.
Well, you know what's cool about that, Charles, is it's a win-win, right? The original owner gets to, for lack of a better term, buy and flip an asset. They get to cash out. And there's 2 things they could do. They could pocket a lot of cash, or they could turn it into a real passive income asset and do a seller financing deal. And either way, the seller makes out like a bandit. The buyer comes in to cash flow and a business already established. So no, I mean, I love resales for that very reason, because you get to breathe sometimes new life into an organization. You get to see someone get rich in an organization selling it. So I think that's really cool.
And I learned a lot from this just by not being a franchisor. I did it from a franchisee's perspective. So my first couple of stores, before being a franchisor, I bought them, I leased them, and I sold them. And I did really well. I sold them for more than just about anybody relative to the numbers. But then I said, you know what, if I buy the property, I can actually buy a few of these properties, lease it to the business, run it for several years. And some of them I ran from 10 to 15 years. Yeah. Multiple stores. I built 10 of them. So when I did that, when I sold them for big money. But then the cost of the property I built 10, 15 years later, I was getting, so much money in revenue from just because they're all paid off now. When I get rental income after selling them, I write a lease and I got rental income.
Well, not only that, you capture the depreciation, Charles. I mean, on owning, business real estate like that, that's like a whole other part of the equation most people don't know about.
Yeah, once you get into multiple stores that are bringing you that kind of money, it's almost like inevitable that you have to buy property, because if you buy the property, whatever the cost of the property is, you literally can write 100% of that value over 5 years. So if you're making $500,000 a year and you bought, a $2 million property, you break that up to 5 years and you're writing that much off every year. So as you're building them and owning them, it's a longer play than getting a mobile service, which is really good. But when you're buying property and you can get to that level and open up a bunch of them over the long run, you'll be able to retire, and just off the money that you're making, ongoing income from your rental properties. It's amazing. And actually, I would not have been able to build Tint World the way I did. I built it with my own money, nothing else, no loans. I had rental money coming in, nearly $1 million in rental income from all the stores that I sold. And so that funded me as well as to open the business and to live without having to worry about it. I didn't need an income from Tint World. It took me a lot of years. I kept putting it back in to build the brand.
Yeah.
So it made it easy for me. And but I put in the work early with the franchise. I would not be able to get to where I am as fast as I did without franchising. It is an amazing tool to use to be able to leverage a system, a process, financing, and the brand to grow.
Yeah.
That's a really, really good segue. And by the way, Charles, I love it because we're going places with you that I think a lot of people don't really know about, the real estate side of things, which,
Yeah.
Jill's a huge proponent of. And in a market where home services are selling a lot, right? Mobile franchises, I think sometimes people don't really understand some of the value in having the real estate. And so it's such great information that you're offering to our listeners. And I think that's fabulous. But the segue into the support, the training when it comes to franchise ownership, I agree. I mean, that is the value in helping someone step by step by step in starting a business and growing a business. Maybe share with us kind of how your franchise infrastructure is situated, how you guys support franchisees from step A to Z. How does that work?
So, as I grew into franchise, again, I came down at 21 years old with 2 suitcases from Brooklyn, figuring I'm going to open a car stereo shop. The banks wouldn't give me a loan. The landlords didn't want to let stereo shop. That's a new startup. We don't want that. And then I found franchising. And then when I went back to them, I said, I got this franchise. We'll give you an end cap. We'll build out the building for you. Really? Here's a lease. I go to the bank. I'm like, can I get financing? They told me no. When I said I have a franchise, we have a special SBA loan. We can do that. So everybody was helping me where they weren't before. So having that asset of a brand on your side allowed me to give the roadmap, the training. I got the finance, and that's when I grew. So I realized that was a way to use leverage. There's a lot of roads to get somewhere in life. You can have a corporate job and really learn it and get those big pension funds, or you could basically, go to school and really become a professional of some sort. And that way, to me, I leveraged franchising to grow my life. And I really got into it, my franchise. So if you really want to play the long game, I became the chairman of the computer committee, the very first one. I helped them build it out. I became a trainer at the conventions. I really loved learning about it and then helping other franchisees. When you help other people, it does nothing but make you smarter and help yourself grow. So that's where I learned. And then when I was ready to do Tint World, I was like, I think I can do it better. I think I could run a franchise. I want to build a franchise that I always dreamed of. I know what they did that was really well, and I know that I wish they would have did some things. I'm going to put those things into the system, and that's kind of what I live every day of my life.
I love that. I love the progression of that because, we have a lot of people that come in and, they're worried about starting a franchise. They've never run a business before, but then they get that support and then they become more comfortable and then they run the business and then they start progressing like you. Next thing you know, they're starting their own franchise. So it gives people those building blocks. And what we've talked about on past podcasts too are young people coming into franchising, coming in your early 20s, in your late 20s and making that the start of your career. Because like you said, you could go into corporate America and you can, learn that way and do that, or you can be in the business, and those first couple of years are hard. We know that. We personally know that now.
Wait, doesn't Charles have like a famous young franchisee on a show you watch? Isn't there like a reality show?
The Ultimatum.
Always fun to have that.
Yeah, on Netflix Ultimatum, we have a couple that came in last June, May or June last year in 2023. And after we went to Discovery Day, the good-looking couple, they came with the father that owned a bunch of McDonald's. And the son worked at the McDonald's through his, younger, times. But they came in and they basically, after they were all done, they were just so really remarkably good-looking and smart and nice. And so after we were done, I usually take a picture with them when, we're ready to get, to go to ceremony. They were like, can we take pictures? And I go, what's the matter? I'm like, well, we were just on a Netflix series and we really can't tell you much. I'm like, really? And then they told me about it. And I'm like, oh my God. It was, if you've seen the Netflix series, The Ultimatum, it's about three couples that are, the guys don't want to get married, the girls do. And then the other ones, the girls don't want to get married, the guys do. And they wind up going through several seasons of it. And then at the end, you find out why the girl or the guy didn't want to get married. And it wanted to be the girl didn't want to marry our guy because she didn't feel like he was entrepreneurial enough. Yep. And that's the reason why he bought two Tint World franchises, because at the end of the Netflix series, he has his T-shirt on with Tint World, a hat, and he's like, I bought Tint Worlds and now we're in love. We're going to get married.
And I didn't know anything about that. And I was watching the show and as someone in franchising, I kept thinking he needs to get a franchise, right? Because she was kind of on him about not, being an entrepreneur and that kind of thing and wanting him to get in the business. And I just kept thinking like, perfect candidate. And then and then he revealed it. And then I saw it was Tint World. So it was like even better.
I got caught up.
The whole story.
In the beginning of August 2023, I got an email from Netflix and I had to sign off on a release. I'm like, what's this for? And I didn't even know what it was about, but I called my attorney and said, you know what? Worst comes to happen, you get some bad publicity. It's good. I said, all right, I'll sign it. I
Yeah,
signed
no,
it, and then a couple weeks
Smart.
later, I saw the premiere, and it was like, oh my God, he's got a hat or a shirt on. He's in front of a store,
perfect.
and it was really. And by the way, they're doing phenomenal. They bought 2 licenses. And she's doing really well on social media. She has her own business with clothing and makeup, and she's an influencer.
Yeah, she seemed to. I mean, she's a good partner for him in that sense too.
Really,
but anyway, I thought that was great.
And they are so in love. Like you could see from when they were on the show to the way they are now, they're just getting stronger. I love them. They're a great couple. I actually had them fly in to do a commercial for us for our home service window tinting. Brought them to my house.
I saw it. You put it on LinkedIn. I saw it. It was very cool. It was in your house, I think, right?
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
It's beautiful. I mean, Charles, that's the other thing too. Not a lot of franchises can make that kind of claim that they're, on a Netflix show. In fact, Pink's, we're going to have a guy in a Pink's uniform on a Netflix. There's like a movie where there will be a Pink's guy.
Yeah.
So, and I was thinking about this. Part of the reason why we bought the franchise we did, Charles, one, Tint World was sold out already in Boca Raton, so we couldn't buy your
Couldn't
franchise.
touch it.
But 2, I love that they had merch that people are on Instagram wearing. No, you're good. And then I like the Tint World stuff looks great. Like we've got a bunch of your stuff. I like wearing it. Like the hat's cool.
Oh, we use the mug.
We use the mugs. Like you guys
stuff.
have great stuff. And I was thinking back to when we first toured the Boca Raton location. It's pretty in there. I mean, it's cool. The floors. I mean, it's like you said, Charles. It's a cool franchise for so many of us that are car enthusiasts that would love to be around cars and just be around that environment and doing cool things to cars. With a business with an EBITDA of 350K. I mean, come on. What's better than that?
But I will say, after throwing, I'm not a car person, but I like pretty things. And
That's true.
even when we went to visit, we brought our son Trey, and he thought it was so cool in there, seeing all the different colors and the films and just even the big pieces of vinyl. I mean, I have a Cricut, so I do little vinyl things, but just to see like the scale of what you guys were doing. I mean, he loved it. I all of a sudden started having ideas of things to do with cars, which like is not me at all. So again, it does really appeal to everyone. And it, like you said, it's niche, but it's not niche anymore. It's kind of appealing to everyone. So
well, that brings up a question. And I don't know if you know this offhand, Charles. So we brought multiple cars into you guys. And like Jill said, once you go to Tint World and you see what they can do,
it's addictive.
Yeah, you want to go back. Are there stats? Are there stats on how many people, what percentage of clients are repeat clients?
Yeah, we do a lot. I mean, because we offer so many categories. So they'll come in for maybe, our lead is the tint. They come in for tint because everybody needs it. It's cool, it's good looking, and does a good job, and it's the most recognized product. Then when they come in, they realize we have these digital displays on our showrooms, and it lets them see and feel and everything else we do. And then we talk to them about it. It's not about selling anything. It's like, you like this? You like that? Hey, this is really good. Your car's popular, put this on. And it's up to them. And it's like jewelry. You can't sell jewelry to somebody. They got to take a look at what we got, and they go and do it. So it's jewelry for your car.
Oh, it is.
It's true. It's very true. And it's, again, it makes it so much. In fact, Charles, we've got more work for you. I'm sitting there looking at the front windows of our car and they're not tinted and it's driving me insane. So
you got to
need to call your guys.
We could put a light tint on it, and it really keeps, because the front windshield is the one that is really it's biggest, most of the heat comes in, most light. You put like a light film on the front of that, it'll block out like 80-90% of the heat, and it just takes that little glare off, and it's just so much nicer. And you don't, from the outside looking, it doesn't look that bad, it's a slight tint. The sides and the back you can do a little darker, but the front we want to keep light so you can see easy.
Yeah, you know what we did? We blacked out our lights.
Yes,
that was super cool.
White car, that was very cool. I mean, that makes me want to do it with every car because it
does. And we have colors. Sometimes we do yellow. You could do different colors.
Yeah.
But yeah, the black is most popular. Tinting them, and then the paint protection film on it, because that's gonna. So you can do the paint protection film on the headlight. Those headlights nowadays, they're like $2,000-$3,000 if they start chipping. Yeah. So you just put that paint protection film with a little shade on it, and it looks beautiful.
Looks good, and it's functional.
Well, but it's everything, right? I mean, I had a car where I took it in and they made the brake calipers red, because you get jealous. Sometimes you see these beautiful cars with their, green, red, yellow brake calipers. Like mine didn't come with that. Well, go to Tint World and you can have whatever you want.
You guys can do everything. I love it.
Yeah, I mean, we like to match them. Like, when you got red interior, you put red calipers and some stripe. We can do a lot of cool things, but it's really making your car your own and setting it off a little bit. Those things are really cool. People love it. And again, you don't have to be like a car freak to love it. We go to, cars and coffee events, and you just see nice cars. It's good to take your kids and get familiar with them. So you don't have to be a car buff like you, Jill. You could just like enjoy seeing some nice cars and talking about them. What kind of car is that? Oh, Ferrari, Lamborghini. Oh, I like what they did there. So you can just have a good time with it, even not buying, just looking and enjoying it. And I tell customers all the time, come and hang out in one of our stores, have a cup of coffee, enjoy yourself, see what you like. If you like it, we can do something.
Love it.
Okay, so a couple quick things, Charles. I know you're probably limited on time, but speaking of coffee, don't you guys have like another concept that you're kind of piggybacking on with Tint World? Isn't there a whole other franchise?
Yeah, we have a new company called Cars Cafe. And the way this started was one of your referrals that we have, who's in Tennessee. His wife wanted to open up a coffee shop franchise. And he already bought all these, Tint World locations. And he's like, I got room in one of mine. He goes, but I don't want to buy a franchise. He goes, could you help me with it? I'm like, you know what? There's cars and coffee, but what about if we do a Cars Cafe where there's really coffee in the place and they can see all those cool cars you're working out? So it took me from February of 2022 to August of 2022 to rebrand the whole thing, get it up and running, get it launched, and have a grand opening at carscafe.com. You can see a video of it. Now that we have it going, you won't believe how many people want to buy these franchises. I'm just in the process of writing the FTD right now.
Cool. So soon we will be able to buy a Cars Cafe franchise.
Does it have to be
sure.
connected to Tint World?
Yeah, we'll go ahead.
Nice.
So will it be connected or will it be a standalone?
Well, really, the Cars Cafes are going to be standalone drive-throughs. That seems to be really where a lot of money is there. It's a good, again, I love fun businesses, profitable businesses, enjoyable businesses. And so that's why I love Tint World. And I love coffee, so cars and coffee. I love it. And coffee is a profitable business. Not like so much as food. Food is a little less and it's more work. But if you can have, people driving through every day and they love cars. So the idea is to have a event-driven coffee shop where coffee lovers meet car enthusiasts.
Well, and if you look at the Dunkin' Donuts item 19, Charles, you'll see that the drive-through locations have better numbers. Having a drive-through, I think it's for every food franchise you see. The drive-through makes your numbers so much better. In fact, it's what helped food franchises survive COVID.
It goes with everything. It really does. And I have a chain of hotels that they want to put a coffee shop in front of every one of the hotels, but they tried to do different ones. A couple of really good brands out there, but they sold out in this. They want the same one. So I actually met them through my supplier, my coffee supplier, which, by the way, he's going to be a sweat equity investor because we're working together on building this stuff. And he introduced me to these people. So they're actually going to build Cars Cafe in front of 150 hotels that they have across the country. And they said, we'll build to suit everyone you want. They want a few to own them, but they're going to build them all. And so I'll be able to you'll be able to pick off a menu board which one you want to buy, and they'll build it and put it up for us. So it's going to be a fast build.
Charles, we're getting so much bang for our buck on this podcast with you. There's so many things that our listeners are getting out of this. Okay, so let's talk about the other next thing. So Charles, of course, has the physical Tint World locations. Charles, are you guys also in the early stages, mid stages of rolling out a home services concept as well?
Yeah. So I'm the founder of Tint World franchise, not the founder of the actual company. Somebody started Tint World as a small business in Florida in 1982. I came down to Florida in 1983 to do something, but I started to take my car there for tint over the years. And when I fast forwarded up to in 2006, when I wanted to build a franchise for aftermarket, I actually called the guy up and he had 6 locations and I bought him and I converted to a franchise, and that's where we rent. But he was doing some window tinting for homes, but it was like an extra, as an afterthought. Okay, people call you can do your home. So I knew that it was going to be something I would be bolting on and doing, and we had franchisees starting to do. I wrote it into the system. But 2 years ago, I really started to get serious about it. So we did a couple of $1 million last year in home services. This year, we're like quadrupling that, if not more. Year's not over yet. And we're rolling it out. So I want to make it so when somebody, because the big thing about, buying a brick and mortar store, you got to get the location, you got to build it out, you got to get, so there's that runway. Some people want, like at home service, they want to go quick. They want to get it. 60 days you're in business. So what I thought is that if I could get them in the home services vehicle first, while they're building the business out, they can have a business and they can build this. And once they build that, they can put management in there and then focus on building their store. And that's the bigger play. So now you have 2 franchises in one.
That is awesome. I think that's so cool. And that, I mean, again, as the retail's getting going, you get the home services, you get the truck out there doing its thing, which, by the way, also, Charles, the truck is a Section 179 tax deduction. So again, the savings keep rolling with the real estate, with the automotive. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, it's also, a lot of our franchises. I got one up in Pennsylvania right now. They're doing a bunch of schools because we have security film that help protect the children from breaking and whatever's going on there.
Yes.
So they're doing like schools, like whole schools. I mean, like $50,000 to $100,000 a piece. They're going from area to area. So there's a lot of money in it. We're right now potentially opening up a Tint World in New York City. I'm working with my film manufacturing partner. We might do one together. So we might have trucks going all over New York City soon.
Super exciting.
It's like the dream.
Yeah. All right, Charles. With as many franchisees as you've worked with over the years, with being in the industry as long as you have, what are the common traits that you see with the most successful franchise owners?
That is really a great question. It's not just it's a great question, and it's not only from me seeing it with Tint World. It's me seeing it when I was with my own franchise prior to this, where I saw what was the difference between the ones that were most successful and the one. It's a positive mindset. If you're keeping positive every day on what you're trying, you got to just keep on chipping away towards your goal. And also be inspired by the winners, the people that are growing. What are they doing different? How do I learn from this person? Mm-hmm. And with the people that are in the middle, and help them, give them a lift. But you're always going to have a small amount of group that's at the bottom, and all they want to do is complain. And so the ones that complain, it's like they can't get out of their own way. No matter what you do positive, they just focus on the negative. And I really believe in being positive in my life. I don't really let negative people around me. If you come to my office, you'll see my team. They're the nicest people. They don't just do their job. They love our franchisees. They want to see them win. We high five each other when somebody does numbers. So we're all that way and positive. Something goes wrong, you know what we do? How do we make this good? How do we make this right? It's never negative. So you'll never see that in me or anybody. I'm an emotional person. I love to make it really work. And I think that's the biggest thing. Play the long game. Don't say, I'm going to go in and I'm going to make a lot of money in a year. No. Look at what the FDD says. We have good numbers there. Look, year 1, year 2, year 3. Put yourself in that mindset and live to it. Try to beat it. If you fall a little short, try to grow it and learn from your peers. But don't be hanging around in the group that's the negative ones on the corner. Hang out the ones that are growing and going and thriving. If you think like that, I think almost anybody could be rich.
I love that. I think one thing we talk about often is, hang around the A students, hang around the top performers, and then you can see how negativity sometimes can spread, right? And you have one bad apple and then they start to kind of influence the other ones too. So it's really important to stay positive, because that's infectious. I mean, they're both infectious, but the positivity is what you really want to spread. So I love that. That's such really good advice.
Yeah.
You have to level up all the time. So some people don't realize. They say, you become the average of the 5 people that you hang around with. So all I say is that just add one higher level person every year or two in your life, learn from them and become more. If that's going to help you grow. I'm really big on positive thinking. And I believe that you can get anything you want in life. If you're positive, you believe in it, you can achieve it, and you work at it. Don't look at what somebody else is doing better than you. Just use it as a guide to say, the only competition you have is yourself. Be better every year. Aspire for somebody that's doing well. Don't get jealous of it. Just grow. And if you focus on that, and I talk to a lot of people, and I just see it all the time. I know when they're going to be really successful. I have a guy that just bought 5 units in New Jersey, and he has such a great mindset. I know he's going to kill it. You mark my words, within 3 years, he'll have 10 locations in New Jersey, and he's buying a lot of the locations. I was on another podcast, I told my complete story, and it's like a 2-hour gig, and he just said, I've listened to that podcast literally like 6 times. He goes, and I'm going to follow everything you did in your life in my own way in New Jersey. I'm going to own every store in New Jersey. And the ones couple that are there that don't have, I'm buying them out. Got a great mindset.
Great.
I love that. You're so right. I mean, it's having, and that's what I love about franchising. We say it on this podcast all the time. The friendly competition having another office to compete with, to help push you, but celebrate each other. What do they say? A rising tide lifts all boats.
Yes.
And you're right. There's no room for jealousy and things like that. You know what? Be positive. Learn from the other locations that are succeeding. What are they doing? I always say it to people, find out who the franchise owner is, who joined the system in the last 3 years and who's killing it, and go right along with them and learn what they're doing.
Yeah.
That's what's so great about franchising. It's all there. It's all there to be copied. Mindset, systems, it's there. Just go execute.
And you know it. Where could you go in any business and open up and have someone freely, they talk the same exact business as you, whether they're doing a little worse and you want to help them up, or they're doing really well, you're going to learn from them. The fact, where could you go get that kind of intel in any other business, any other industry that you open up? Nobody's going to tell you what they're doing. And even if they do, it's not aligned with the way you're doing it. This is going to allow you to align with people and level up every single time. And just focus on that and you will grow at your own pace.
I totally agree. And I love the open communication, because sometimes different locations are experiencing different things. So sharing what some location is seeing in their area versus what's happening in your area, that's really important for everyone to know as they grow. And so I love having that. Like, the friendly competition is great for, just to motivate you, but at the same time, it's also to help each other grow. And to, just make sure everyone is doing their best and getting the best advice from someone who's going through the same thing as you.
Yeah, you can learn so much. I mean, there's nothing but you learn from your franchise, you learn from your peers as your franchisees, your fellow franchisees. I used to love going to my annual conventions, see their kids grow up. My kids are growing up. They're getting friendly. I mean, I know you see it. I mean, that was really, and not to mention, wait, I see what you're doing with your child. Your son is going to be so much smarter than anybody else, because it's not just the stuff that he's learning in school. It's just the business sense and the knowledge. Hearing mom and dad help other people and grow your business. That my kids, when they were in college, and they would stand up and they had a lot of friends that had parents in high level jobs, but not like me. They hear me, listen to me all day, pacing the house, talk with franchisees at dinner, after dinner, all day long, just like you. And that subliminal that they're hearing is really manifesting into some brilliance beyond what you could ever learn in school.
It's a great point. I mean, I grew up with, Jill did too. We had entrepreneurial parents. I saw my dad up and down, great success, sometimes things that weren't as successful, from going to, swap meets on the weekend and selling stuff. I mean, it was such great lessons to watch all of it. And you're right. I think having a family business, being able to get that exposure. I mean, Trey, our son, asks us these questions. What's happening in Pinks? Tell me about, this, he knows the name of our techs. What's going on? What jobs are you guys working? I mean, heck, Charles, there's a franchise for sale here in Boca in a completely separate industry. We went and kicked the tires on it and looked at it, and we took him with us, and we told him, hey, here's what they want. Here's what they're asking. Here's what we would offer. He's hearing these things. And if you don't own a business, these are things that probably most kids are never talking about.
And when you own a franchise, when my daughter was 6 years old, I had her sitting at the counter, customers walk in, and she'd hand the work order and say, please fill out the top 3 lines and we'll take care of you. When my son was 16 years old, I had him fill out a franchise. I had him fill out a franchise agreement and showed him how to send out the franchise agreement. He wrote it all out. He did it himself. I said, now we send it to them, and they sign it and they come back. And I taught him these things, and he knows it all. I have pictures of him, videos. So these are great things, great lessons, and you can't do it anywhere else. Where could you bring your kid to work and have her or him sit at the counter, talk to your customers in the waiting area, get to know them, and learn from them? Hey, what are you getting on your car? This is great.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's great.
Well,
and I know you live it.
Pink's uniform, but he has yet to wash a window, but that will be next.
Got to get him to do it. He's got to do the good with the bad, the ugly. What do you want to be in life? You want to do that? You want to do this? It's all good. It's fun washing windows. That's not a hard job. That's a beautiful job.
Hey, Charles, does someone have to have automotive experience to be a franchise owner at Tint World?
9 out of 10 people that come into our franchise have no clue about automotive. And you know what? It's even better because I get to teach them the right way. They don't know any of the wrong ways, so it's not teaching them new. I do have some people that came in from something else, and now that we're growing really well, I have a lot of independents that are converted to Tint World. There's a big opportunity for us with that. We just got this new brand, Expel, and it's the sought after film and in the industry. And so a lot of these people that are using something else want that product. And we're the largest purchaser of Expel products. So our pricing is like half what everybody else is. So they can convert to us and actually get the pricing. The cost of the franchise is like nothing from the benefits they get of the growth. So it's we'll talk about that one.
So you're saying now the offer to maybe mom and pops to convert to a Tint World and utilize that product. Is that what it is?
Yes, I think we just market to every one of them that's in the areas and has the ability as long as the model fits what we were looking for, and we can convert them over, and they'll make so much more money on the savings of the products that we do, the marketing that we do for them, the systemized systems that we have that they just really can't do themselves. No, listen, I'm not saying that they can't do it like they're something less than me. If I had one store, I couldn't do what I could do with 150. We're all contributing to a fund that's lowering our prices to grow. So it's not any one person. It's not like me or any one person. It's the group that I've built, the team in our corporate office, and we share a marketing fund, we share a technology fund, so we get things for a fraction of what you could possibly think about doing it on your own. How could you build a $1 million website when you're by yourself? You can't. But collectively, I do that every year.
Right. Well, no, I mean, Charles, that's the beauty of franchising. The guest we had on last week, Dan Clapp, so I think you've met, he owns Voda Restoration. He talked about, Voda was an established restoration company doing $1.6 million per year. And then once he bought them and installed franchise systems, he's got them doing over $2 million a year on the pilot location. Franchise systems work. Codifying a business, like if you read the book, The E-Myth Revisited, which I think everyone in franchising has probably read, adding systems to a business, adding processes to a business, which most mom and pops just don't have, can make it so much more efficient, so much more profitable. So what you're saying is exactly right. I mean, this is why for all of you out there that might be interested in business ownership and diversification, even just having a conversation with the folks at Tint World, there's so many avenues that you can see where you could go. And definitely do hit us up at weboughtafranchise.com. And we can get you introduced over to Charles and the team. You also should follow Charles on LinkedIn because he's about as transparent of a guy as I know. He's always sharing what's going on. Charles, you probably post about 3 times a day. Would that be right?
It's just, I'll have a birthday party in our office and I'll just, hey, let's go show it. It might be something in one of my stores I'm really proud of. I really like to show off the people around me, my great team, my great franchisees, the successes that we have. Sometimes we'll talk about franchising, but the majority is just life in franchising. Yeah. And I love it and I've lived it, and like you, so I like to share it with people. And I have people that bought a franchise from me and say, I've been watching you for 10 years on LinkedIn, always wanted to contact you, but I just leave my job and I want to come and meet you. And boom, there it goes. So like, I didn't even know that they were looking at me. I didn't know who they were. And they were like, I've been watching for years. And I love that because I'm just posting what I love to do. I'm not really trying to sell anything or do anything, but I guess it lets people know who we are, what we do, and it gets them intrigued when they're ready to do something, if this is right for you, if you like this lifestyle. Because when you're buying a franchise, it's not just the money. It's not just to buy it to make money. That's a big part of it. But what are you going to do every day with your life? Do you like to be around this business or that business? What kind of team do you want? Do you want a small team or a big team? Do you want to do it all yourself? Whatever that may be, there's a franchise for you. I want everybody to love the franchise that's good for them. So it's not just my story of what I did. That's just one aspect. If you like it, I'd love to work with you. If it's not your cup of tea, be a customer, but go to Jack and Jill and find something that's going to fit your needs and what you love.
That's great. I think being authentic and transparent is key, right? They know what they're in for when they meet you. They're not seeing someone on LinkedIn or social media that they're not going to meet in real life. And, that is huge because they, like you said, if it's for them, it's for them. And they can make that determination beforehand. And then you have these very loyal people that do come to you.
Mm-hmm. And for all of you listening out there wondering, what do franchise people talk about? This is it. You hear it and it's like you hear Charles very clearly saying to you, have patience as the business grows. Charles, anyone in franchising, and we've had clients on who bought franchises through us. We've had franchisors like you on the podcast. The message is clear. During the first few years, in particular, the first 6 to 18 months, have patience. This is a long game. You're building such value here. It's not a get rich quick thing. you can, and our client Matt said this on the podcast a few weeks ago, and Charles is living proof. You can accomplish everything you want to accomplish, but have patience and build it the right way from the beginning.
Relentlessly stick to your plan and grow, and use all the resources around you, both the corporate and the actual franchisees around you, as well as listen to your customers. They'll tell you what they love, and it's really important. And also listen to your, like you. I mean, like, you're a mentor to all the people that come in through. So when they want to talk to somebody, they don't have a lot of people that know all these other nuances. You do. So that's another resource for them when they come through, a team like you, the Insider.
Yeah, exactly. Well, Charles, I think we've said it all. I don't know how much more can be said.
We could go on forever.
This has been so much fun having you on the podcast today, Charles, and all of this information is so great for our listeners. So thank you for gracing us with all of you've learned over the years being a business owner and a franchise owner. For this week's episode, I'm Jack.
I'm Jill.
He's Charles. We bought a franchise and he started a franchise. Thanks for listening, everyone. We'll see you next time.